Going live. Blessed be everyone. Welcome to another Mystery Witch School YouTube live stream. Today we are going to be talking about the beginner's guide to working with powerful deities. I released a video, a pre-recorded video last week on YouTube about the 7 most popular deities in 2025, and this is a bit of a follow-on and a little bit more of explanation to that. So as I wait for people to come onto the live, welcome to all of those of you watching the replay. My name is Sandra, and I have been helping witches probably for the last 7 years or so who are struggling with knowing where to start a practice or just unsure about how to deepen a practice that you already have, helping you become more confident so that you can integrate magic into your life on a daily basis with ease. And I do that through the YouTube channel, obviously, and also through online courses and one-to-one coaching. And today we are going to be going into how you can work with the deities to help you and also to co-create with them. So this approach is to deepen your relationship with the deities for more powerful magic, and also to know how to help ask them to help you integrate your magic into your life and to become a deity yourself, basically, which is what we are. We are all divine consciousness. We're all part of divinity. We're all part of this one consciousness, and we are gods and goddesses too. We've just forgotten, and we've been led astray into believing that we're not. And now it's time for us to step back into our power and realize that we are able to create what we want to create. We don't have to be totally immersed in this material world in the way that we've been told it is. We can start to see it for what it is, which is vibration, and to tune into that vibration and to our higher selves and our higher consciousness, so that we can start to create what we really do want to create here, instead of struggling like we have been. And we can work with deities to help us do that. Now, if you are new to witchcraft and you want to know where to start your witchcraft practice, I have a free masterclass called How to Start Your Witchcraft Practice. Now, there's a link in the description field below the video, and I'll also put it in the chat as well. I'm just going in to find it now because I forgot to open up the links. And you can sign up for that and watch the masterclass. It goes for about 40 minutes, and it just goes through what witches do and how you can pace yourself along the way if you're trying to learn witchcraft on your own. And I also let you know how you can learn witchcraft with me at the end of that masterclass too, if you're wanting help with that. Okay, so who have we got here today? We have, hi Sandy, hi Luciano, hi Swakfan. Welcome everybody. I hope you've had a wonderful week and have been able to handle the Mercury retrograde as well as you can. From what I've heard, a lot of people have struggled with this Mercury retrograde. So let me know in the chat or in the comments if you found this particular Mercury retrograde to be particularly difficult or just annoying or frustrating, however you found it. Let me know, because I've certainly found that this retrograde has been very annoying when it comes to mechanical things breaking down, including the car. So that's how I've been with Mercury retrograde. Let me know. So we're going to dive straight in, and as people come on, they will drop in. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments or in the chat. There's super chat and super thanks. So if you want to support the channel by donation, you can certainly do that. Okay. So the main thing I want to talk about when it comes to deities is how we work with the deities. There's a very, I guess, an old-fashioned way of working with deities, which is where we humans have been in the past, where we've looked up to deities as being beyond us, above us, divorced from us, that we've had to do what they tell us to do, and almost beg them for mercy and all those kinds of things. And when monotheism took over from polytheism around over 2,000 years ago, they just sort of carried that and didn't change it. They just went from many gods to one god and pretty much did the same thing, where you've got these powers over, and we're just the little humans that are at the mercy of these beings. But as we come to understand consciousness more, we're realizing that it's not about a case of them towering over us or us dominating us in any way. It's a case of us remembering that we are like them. And the point of working with them is to become more of what we are. And this is something that comes a little bit from some Eastern mysticism, but it's really just realizing that we are all divine beings. Everything is divine. If you're looking at animism, for example, where even inanimate objects are considered to have some kind of a consciousness, it's true in the sense that everything is divine. Everything is consciousness. Everything is vibrating. Everything is the divine idea wanting to experience itself. And so it experiences itself through all of us, and we're aspects of that experiencing itself. And working with the deities is a way of experiencing this connection to other beings who are also part of what you're part of. So it's fun to work with various different deities in this way, rather than the old-fashioned way of being afraid of them or believing that they're somehow above us. They may be beyond us in their awareness of who and what they are, but that doesn't necessarily make them above us or our puppeteers. So it's understanding that when it comes to deities. So it's not just calling on them for favors as well, which again is sort of comes from the past where we did that, and it's still done in the monotheistic religions today as well, where we're asking for help. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help, for sure. And when we're doing magic and we're asking for blessings or asking the deities to assist us, we are asking them for help. But it's not like asking them for favors. It's not like saying, I'll do this if you do that kind of thing. We're really interested in co-creating with the deities so that we can learn more about who we are and empower ourselves. And this allows us to have a lot more uh, personal transformation and personal awareness. And it builds a strong connection with you, with yourself, and with the deities as well. So when it comes to choosing a deity, is it a existing connection or is it a new one? So is it a deity you've always felt has been around you or that you've connected with for a very long time? Or is it a deity you're just starting to work with? You want to develop a dialogue with them, a connection to them, and establish a relationship with them. And the way that we can do that is by working with them on a daily basis with a daily practice. Now, in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, which is my 12-month course, we do this in the later modules where you work with various different deities for a month at a time. And you're doing a daily practice with those deities in that month. So you're getting to learn to work with different deities and you're working with them intensely on a monthly basis by doing a daily practice. And the daily practice is just a very, very simple thing. You will have maybe a little invocation that you may have for them. You light a candle, you set up a space. Now, that space doesn't necessarily have to be a Wiccan circle or a big witchy circle. It can be a circle of light or energy that you set up on a daily basis, and simply ask them to be there with you in that moment that you're working with them. You might want to meditate while you're working with them in that daily practice. You might want to do some journaling with them. Ask them for inspiration, ask them to help awaken you up to who and what you truly are, or whatever it is that you're wanting to work with them for. Different deities tend to have different specialties. So if you're working with Hecate, for example, you may be working with her for shadow work. And so you're wanting to do more in-depth investigation on who and what you are with Hecate. You might want to work with Breed, for example, to work with inspiration. You may be working on a creative project and you're feeling a little flat. And so you may need some inspiration. You may want to work with money. So you might want to work with, you know, Juno to help with money, or any of the deities and what they specialize in could be why you're working with them. You're working with them for that particular area that they tend to specialize in. So you can choose them or they can choose you. Now, often they will choose you, and you will know that by the symbols and signs that are around you. You may start to see some of their animal symbols, you may see some of their more abstract symbols. Example, Hecate, you may see a lot of keys, you may be seeing owls, horses, you may be seeing daggers and torches, and anything that's associated with a particular deity you may be seeing a lot of. They may be coming up in your YouTube feed. They might be coming up in other areas of social media. You may go into a bookstore and you're drawn to a particular book that may be linked in some way to that particular deity. They may come up in conversation. I've had instances where I've just been at a bus stop and I've just happened to look over someone's shoulder at a book they were standing and reading at the bus stop, and there was a reference to Hecate. It's like, okay, Hecate's reminding me of something. She's got a message for me of some way, and which is kind of interesting because it's like, oh, this person is like me, and you can have that happen where things just happen. It's like the universe or the deity is giving you a nudge in some way that they want to work with you, or that it's time for you to work with them. So there's that aspect. You can approach the deity as well if you want to work with them. So if you're wanting to work on prosperity, you may want to work with a deity of prosperity. You could work with Fortuna, for example, for prosperity. If you're wanting to work with love, you might want to approach Freya or Venus or Aphrodite to work with love and get them to help you open up to your own love and your ability to be loved and to love. So the deities can help you beyond just getting the thing that you want to get with working with them. The deities can help you open up to being the person who has those things. So if you're working with Fortuna, she can open you up to being the person that attracts money, that has money all the time, that finds it easy to receive money. Venus can open you up to being a person who is love, who can attract love and be a loving person. So these deities can help you become more of who you are, because that is who you are. You're somebody who can attract the things that you need to attract in order for you to survive comfortably in the world. You're somebody who can be loved and be loving. It's just a matter of removing the blockages that are stopping you from being able to experience yourself as those things. And this is where working with the deities becomes powerful. It's not just asking them for things and begging them for things and bargaining with them for things. It's about, help me become the person who has these things so that I can become more of the divine spark I'm meant to be. So I'll just jump into the comments here. Hi, Shannon. Finally got here. Want to work with Lilith, but I have to study more about her. Can you tell me where to start? I haven't worked with Lilith. She's a deity I haven't worked with, but a lot of people are very attracted to working with her. And she's one of the very popular deities at the moment. And she does have, from what I know of her, she does have a very similar energy to Kali, if anybody's worked with Kali from the Hindu pantheon, and some connection with some of the more chthonic aspects of Hecate. I suspect she'd be a very good deity to work with in self-reflection and investigating the aspects of yourself that you're not happy with, or that you're ashamed of, that maybe you shouldn't be ashamed of. And self-expression, I suspect she would be very good at that. The place to start with that would be continue to do your research on her, and then invite her in one morning when you're doing a morning practice or an evening practice, or whenever you practice. Set up a sacred space. Have an offering for her. So any deity that you're working with, you want to have some kind of an offering. It could simply be water. It could be food of some sort. It could be incense. It could be herbs. And that's just basically being hospitable. It's not because they need the offering. It's that we're just being hospitable and we're showing gratitude for them being there. And the way that we do that as humans in the human world is often by giving people things or providing things for people. And so we do that with the deities as well, just out of simply friendliness, really, and gratitude. So find out what her offerings are and have an offering that's easy for you to obtain, and ask her to be present and journal with her, meditate with her, ask her to inspire you in some way, to give you signs in some way that of what to work with her on, or that she wants to work with you. Just ask them to give you a sign of some sort. A man or woman sees in the world what he/she carries in their heart. Perception of a deity is the reflection of you. That's very true to a very, very large extent, and you see that particularly with, deities like Lilith and Hecate, the ones that are often seen as being the darker deities, the dark goddesses, for example. Often you'll see that people are working with them in ways that are very destructive, because that's what is in the torment is in their heart, and so they're working with them in a very tumultuous way. Whereas other people work with Hecate and find that she's completely different, and that she's much, much more higher vibrationally. So I think too, and I know this from with Hecate, I can't say this for all deities, but I know definitely with Hecate that when you're in a consciousness that is beyond the average human consciousness that we have here, where we've been told spirituality is a particular thing in a particular way, when you go beyond that, it's a case of not doing the work for someone. It's a case of allowing that person to find out for themselves where they're going wrong. And so Hecate allows people to fall into the holes of their own doing, hoping that they will learn from that. And that's something that I know she does definitely. So people who do work with Hecate in a very destructive way are working with her, but what they what they experience from working that way is them falling into holes a lot of the time, and creating a life that they don't really want to be creating. And that's a lesson that they need to learn, and they can only learn it from doing it. How to work with Freya, same way. It's the same with all of the deities, and I will talk about that soon too. Uh, I mentioned Freya and Lilith on my video, which was the 7 deities, the 7 most popular deities in 2025. So it's on my YouTube channel, and I released it last Thursday. So you can find out a little bit more about Lilith and a little bit more about Freya and how to work with them in that video. And I'll try to remember to put a link to that video uh, at the end of this one when I have come off it. Thought about Freya, if spelled that right. Yep, there's different ways. Freya. I usually just put it as Freya. Can you work with more than one? Yes, you can work with more than one deity at a time, but not necessarily right at the same time. As in, if you're doing a ritual with one deity, do the ritual with that deity, and then do another ritual with the other deity separate. Unless you're working with two deities that complement each other and work together. So often in modern witchcraft, we will work with a god and a goddess that complement each other. So if you're wanting to have both a yin and yang, approach to something. You could work with Hecate and Helios, for example, or you could work with, Freya and Odin, for example. And so if they go together traditionally, then you working with them together is fine. If you're wanting to work with Hecate and maybe the Fates or the Graces, you can work with them together because they all work with Hecate. How can I be sure a particular deity is calling to me? Recently, I've been learning more about both Hecate and Lilith, and their names come up on another YouTube channel. So there's two of them there. Do more research and find out who you resonate with the most. And the way to find out who you resonate with is to put your hand on your heart and then focus on Hecate, see how you feel. Then put your hand back on your heart again, focus on Lilith and see how you feel, and you'll know which one is the one that you're really wanting to gravitate to working with at that time. Who works with Lilith? Oh, so you're asking people who work with Lilith? Yep. If you work with Lilith, let us know in the comments and in the chat if you work with Lilith and what your experiences have been like working with Lilith. Work with Hecate and Kununos. Awesome. Yeah, Kununos is a wonderful deity to work with too. I've worked with him. He is great for material grounding. Like if you're struggling with the material world, surviving in the material world particularly, and that includes working with money, he's a great deity to just help you get really connected to the physical reality and understanding that you have the ability to be able to shape that. He's quite raw and connecting with him is very, very much of a raw feeling. It's the only way I can describe it. We work with him in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. And yeah, he's a wonderful deity to work with. He's very popular as well. And the way that you can tell if a deity is responding to you, so if you have done a ritual with them, you've provided an offering, you've asked them to be with you, you've done some meditation, some journaling, or maybe a spell with them, then you give them the offering. The way to know if they're responding is simply more of their symbols. So you're going to see their symbols pop up more. You may even feel inspired by them. You may see more of them on social media. It's pretty much the same thing as when they want to work with you, you see these things. But if you want to know that you are connecting with them, you will also see those things, particularly their symbols. You may be more exposed to jewelry that is of their symbol or pictures that you might obtain and have something that you keep that symbolizes them. So you may go somewhere, for example, and this is just an example of somebody that was responding to a post on one of my Facebook posts about how they came to find the Hecate key, and they just gone into I think it was a secondhand store, and the guy behind the counter had a lot of keys that were old keys. He was looking for an old key to connect with Hecate, and there were a number of different old keys there. And the first key, no, the second key, no, but the third key was the one that he really resonated with. So these are ways that you can connect with deities because things will just happen. I had an incident with Hecate's key as well, where there were some things going haywire electronically at my place, and I was in a bit of a tizzy, and I was sort of let my ego get on top of me and feeling, very frustrated about things. And I'd only just started really working with Hecate at the time. And I did ask Hecate, to help me get more on top of myself. And then I went to a gem show and came across a piece of jewelry that was Hecate's key. And so I felt that was her way of responding to me. So there's all these little anecdotal stories that you'll find from people about the things that come to them when they've been working with a deity. They always respond when I call, and I'm grateful that they both listen and provide assistance. Yes. Okay. Other question before we move on? what do you think about psycho-spiritual theories on our relationship with our deities being recapitulations of childhood relational dynamics? That will happen for sure. It happens with everyone. Even people we know, that happens with. So yes, that does happen, but that's just one of the many things that happens due to our psychology and our upbringing. So yes, we will often be geared towards deities, often as a father or mother figure. They could be lover, they could be friend, and that could have a lot to do with our upbringing and our background. But also it can do with your evolution on your path to maturity too. So they may start out as a mother or father aspect when you're younger, and then as you get older and you become get more of a sense of self, and you're more stepping into who you are, then they may actually become more like a mentor to you. So that may change as you change. They always respond when I call. Yes, I read that one. Okay, awesome. Oops, didn't mean to knock the microphone. So I just want to talk about some of the things that you can do to invite the deities in. So it's just a really simple deity practice that you can do on a daily basis to bring in a deity. And I'm going to just go into an example that I have in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, which is the 12-month course on witchcraft. And I'm going to go into one of the modules and I'm going to pick a deity. And where are we? I'm going to work with, okay, Breed and Lou. And this is an example of a daily practice that you would do with Breed, however you want to pronounce it, and Lou. They're deities that we work with in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. We work with them together at Imolc and Lunasa, because Imolc is all about Breed, and of course Lunasa is all about Lou. So we work with both of those deities during that time. And we create a circle of light when we're working on a daily practice, because who wants to do a full circle every day? Because it can be a bit time consuming, and you don't need to do a full on calling in the elements and full on circle when you're just working with your deities. And so we create a circle of light. So that's just emanating from the heart, this light that just grows and grows, comes around us and creates this cocoon, which expands out into the space and room around us, where we're connecting then with the things we want to connect with. So it's coming from the heart. So it's creating a circle of that high vibe love energy. And you just feel into that heart energy getting wider and wider and bigger. And then we do an invocation to Breed and Lou. So for this example is, I call upon thee, Breed, Lady of the Sacred Flame, Goddess of Healing and Crafts, Sovereign One of the Fertile Earth. Hail to thee, Brigantia, protect me throughout this day. Hail to thee, Briginda, grant me your strength. Hail to thee, Bridu, maintain my health and vigor this day and night, from dusk till dawn, from dawn till dusk. And then we call upon Lu. I call upon thee, Lu, God of the sun, God of the artful hand. Surround me with your protective light, secure in your shining flame. Lu Lamfada, hear my call, stand by my side, grant me bounty, creativity, and fiery strength this day and night, from dusk till dawn, from dawn till dusk. And then from there, it's a case of, what do you want to do with these deities? As in, what is your point of calling them? Is it just to connect with them? And the way that I connect with them in the imagination at first is to imagine that Breed is standing there on one side and Lou's standing on the other side, and we're forming a triangle with each other. So I'm here and they're there. And there's this sense of connection of a triangular shape between the three of us. And I might meditate. I might just say, I want to meditate. I may have something I'm working on that I want inspiration on or help with, and do a spell with them, maybe. Have a daily intention that you might be doing with them. I do recommend you meditate every day. And then when you're finished, give them some kind of offering. So that could be it could be a candle, it could be a little bit of candlelight, it could be incense, it could be wine. Not that you're necessarily wanting to do that every day, but something that you can offer on a daily basis. Incense is great. Even water is fine. It's offering the sustenance of our whole livelihood, which is water. We need water to survive. So it's actually a very important aspect of our survival, water. We take it for granted, but when there's a drought, we know the value of water. Okay, so that's a simple ritual that you can do where you're calling in deities and working with them. If you're wanting healing and you're working with Brid for healing, she can help you become the person who is healed. So become whatever the ailment is, to become the person who is healed of that ailment. In energetic health, or when we're dealing with health on an energetic level, it's commonly believed that all ailments start from an emotional cause, which has generally got something to do with our programming and our thinking. So when you're doing a healing work with a deity, you may want to ask them to help you understand more about what the feeling side is in relation to whatever you're wanting to heal. You can also work with the deities to help you with healing other people, and of course to help you with magic for other people too. That's something that's done a lot. And when that happens, again, you're working with them together. You're asking them for advice. You can ask them for inspiration. You can ask them simply to help the magic become stronger and to give blessings to your magic. Okay, I had a bat land on my head yesterday. Which goddess was saying hello to me? Goddess of the bats. Well, that would be, I would say it would be one of the darker goddesses because bats tend to be nocturnal. And I'm thinking Lilith off the top of my head. But yes, I love working with bats. We used to do a lot of work with bats back in the early days, or bat energy. We get a lot of flying foxes here, which are a type of fruit bat. How would you describe a flying fox? They kind of have this, they're little things, but they kind of have this foxy face. They're quite cute. They've got this fluffy little foxy face and furry body, but then they've got the bat wings. And from I guess, a genetic point of view, they're probably more connected to possums than they are bats. But anyway, they have bat wings and they fly at night, and they make a hell of a mess. And they're lovely. They're lovely, lovely creatures to work with. And bats are really good at helping you sense things that you can't see, because they use sonar. They use a different way of navigating, and they navigate at night. So they're using other senses to help them get around. So if you've had a bat land on you, it may be bat energy itself or bat spirit itself speaking to you about, maybe look at using other senses to get a sense of what's going on in your life at the moment, or seeing things in a different way using other senses. And if you're feeling like you can't see clearly in some way, as in the situation may not be very clear to you, or then maybe try thinking in a different way or sensing in a different way. Neptune rising, you can look them up in your natal chart to see if they are conjunct personal planets. Oh, this is talking about the planets. Okay. Not sure what was that answer to, but anyway. So that is an example of how you can use ritual to help you connect with your deity. Now, I know it can be a little intimidating at first if you've never connected to a deity before and you're feeling a little hesitant about doing that because it's a slightly different, I guess, mindset than our traditional way of working with deities from a monotheistic Judeo Christian background. And even from a Wiccan perspective of the god and goddess generically, that can have a bit more of a sense of similarity to the Christian or Judaic upbringing that a lot of us would have possibly had in the West. So sometimes it's easier for us at first to just do genetic goddess and genetic god and sorry, generic goddess and generic god rather than a specific one. But when you come to working with specific deities, it can be a little daunting because it's like, hang on, there seems to be something more personal going on there when you're looking at different aspects of the goddess or particular aspects of the god. But once again, it's like inviting somebody over for tea or coffee and getting to know them. It's the same kind of process. And that's one of the reasons why in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, we work with the deities from module 8 onwards through to module 12 and work with them at specific Sabbats so that you get a whole month to work with that particular deity or those particular deities during that month so that you can get a sense of how to connect with them and how to connect with different deities at different times of the year and tune in more to the seasonal differences as well as how you can work with those deities for those seasonal differences. So if you do want to work with deities and you do want to enhance your witchcraft practice or just know where to start if you're totally new to this, the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy is a good place to start. And you get me helping you along the way. And you can also establish connections with other people who are also part of the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, either through Facebook or coming along to our Zoom sessions, which we have once a month at the new moon, where we do a new moon ritual, we do guided meditation, and we just have a chat about all sorts of things witchy and how it infiltrates into our lives when we're doing this kind of work. This isn't just about, okay, I'm doing a spell and then I get on with the rest of my life. It infiltrates into your life in general, and you start to see all of the things that are happening in your life connecting to your spiritual path and how you can utilize everything that's happening in your life as a conscious progression of yourself, of your consciousness. Everything can be utilized and everything can be used to connect you to the magic, to connect you to who you are. And you'll see the deities coming in more and more in your everyday life, whether that is to remind you of certain things you're working on that you may have forgotten if you've asked them to help you in those ways, or whether it's they wanting to work with you because they're saying that, hey, this is the next phase for you, and we'd like to work with you to help you in that next phase. You'll find that will happen more and more as you move along the path. And for a lot of witches and a lot of people who are navigating their way through this terrain that we're in now energetically, do find that deities like Hecate are becoming more prevalent. They're seeing more and more of Hecate. They're getting curious about Hecate and wanting to maybe work with her, but just not being very confident about how to work with Hecate because of all of the negative stuff that's often said about her on the internet. So in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy, we work with Hecate too. We work with her at Samhain. We also work with her for the moon, the new moon and dark moon as well, because that really is that's her thing, the dark moon and the new moon. So in that course, you work with Briad and Lu. You will work with Balinus, the triple goddess, Kernunos, work with Hecate, Isis and Osiris, and I don't think I've missed anyone out. No, I haven't. So they're the deities that we work with in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy. Okay, I try to practice every day, but it's hard when you live with other people. Yes, other people can be distracting. And that's something I've found as well. It's easy to get distracted when there's other people around, and you can forget your practice when you're getting too caught up in socializing with other people. So it's a case of really having to allow yourself some time for you, a time where you can be by yourself and do at least 10 minutes a day of connecting to the deities, connecting with yourself, meditation, whatever it is that you want to do, really allowing yourself that time, that me time, that connection time, taking that time out for you. It's really important to do. And we can forget to do it. We can let it slide. Sometimes the deities might tap you on the shoulder to remind you to get back into it again. And that could be through a dream. You may dream of the deities. Often deities that you work with will come to you in dreams. So if you're having a dream, I've had dreams where Hecate has been there. So the dream may be involved going into a house that has an evil energy about it. There's a ghost there or an evil spirit there in the house. And I remember this particular dream it was like that the spirit was there, it was coming at me, and then I went into chanting Hecate and invoking Hecate, and then it disappeared and dissipated. So even in your sleep, when you're doing this work every day on a daily basis, in your sleep, you will start to find that you're doing magic, that you're doing things in your sleep to ward off anything that may be trying to infiltrate your dreams or anything like that. You may call on the deity, like I did with Hecate, or you may just do other things in dreams. In the past, I've also drawn pentagrams to push back negative energy, but I found that the particular dream where I invoked Hecate was really, really powerful. And you'll just do that in your dreams because you've been working with them every day. And calling on them, working with them becomes second nature, that you just do it in your dreams, and it's very, very easy. So they can help you not just in your waking life, but in your dream state too. They can help you with dreams. They can help you interpret dreams. You just have to ask them. You may want to go to them as part of your morning practice and say, look, I had this dream and I'm not sure what it means. Inspire me to understand what this dream means. And then you may start to do some interpretation, and you'll find that as you're interpreting the dream, it starts to flow more. A lot of the connection with the deities is very subtle. You don't really notice. It's not like they're yelling in your ear or that you're hearing voices. It's more that they will give you ideas or inspiration for something, or in your external environment, which isn't really external, it's all a part of our perception, you will see things that are related to that deity. Okay. My kids are like, Mum, what do you messes every time? What are you doing? Messes me up every time. I'm not quite sure what that is. Do I need to be in a meditative state, or can I just talk to them randomly throughout the day? You can just talk to them randomly throughout the day. It's good to be in a meditative state when you're actually working with them more intensely. So if you're doing your daily practice, for example, then be in your meditative state. But if it's just during the day, yeah, just ask them to just talk to them. I do that with Hecate. I do that with other deities when I've worked with them. I just talk to them and ask them. I could be washing up. I could be doing anything. I will talk to them then. If something has come into my mind and needing some inspiration of some sort, or needing to solve a puzzle, I will just ask. I will just ask for assistance or help in that way. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be formal invocation at all. The formal aspects are more for intense work and having that time every day that you set yourself, because you need that time every day to connect with you as well as connecting with the deities. So it's not just about connecting with the deities, you're connecting with you as well. So you're wanting to build a long-term relationship with them. So I'm just having a look at my notes now just to see what else we could talk about. Yep, that's all it. That's it there. So, like I said, if you're looking for a deeper connection to deity work, you want a structured way to build the relationships. I cover this in my course, The Mystery Witch School 101. There's a link in the description field below the video. You can also find it on my website, mysterywitchschool.com. And it's through that course that I teach you how to develop a personal, empowering relationship with the deities, integrate them into your practice, as well as magic, energy work, creating circles, and also a little bit of self-exploration there to help you connect with you, because that's the whole point of the thing, is connecting with who you are. And the rituals of witchcraft can help with that, because they're demanding you spend time for yourself, and creating ritual is a very wonderful way of connecting with the subconscious mind, and that's connecting with you. So the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy is a 12-month course that has all of that in there. So do check it out on my website. And I think I may have put this in here. Yes, I did. Okay. I connect best with negative stuff. Makes me feel like I can be rough and still be divine. Demons, etc., have shown me that even the most evil of entities can be beautifully sacred and divine. Yes, because it's all divine. It's all from the one source. It's all divine. Everything is divine. So even the lowest entities, even the ones that aren't necessarily highly evolved, necessarily consciously, can actually have positive results. There are demons like Boone, for example, that can be very helpful with getting more money and being able to have more material peace of mind. There's even healing, ones that do healing as well. So it's really up to the person that does the magic and how you work with these beings. But yeah, everything is of the divine. And you find, though, as you work with different deities, that particularly if you're working with them to evolve consciously, that you will start to work with different types of deities, because some are better at evolution, others are better at devolution. And it depends which way you want to go as to who you work with. So if you want to evolve more into understanding who and what you are, or to go further and further and further into unconsciousness and more into the material aspect, which is basically means only focusing on the material aspects of life, getting caught up in all of the craziness of the material world, because that's very, very limiting, and it does take us back because it makes us feel like we're limited a lot and that we can't do anything about anything. And what we're wanting is to open up and realize who and what we truly are. Okay. Not broken. No, none of us are broken. No one is broken. We may be not seeing things as they truly are. We may be a little delusional, as in we're not seeing the truth of things because we haven't been taught how to see the truth of the nature of existence, for example. But we're not broken. We're just programmed in a particular way, and all we have to do is change the program. So it's not like we're broken programs. We're just programs that perhaps need to be tweaked and changed in order to run more smoothly and run more happily, if that makes sense. Last question. Does my daily practice have to be at night if I'm working with a Lilith and or Hecate? No, it doesn't. I know a lot of people work with Hecate at night, but I don't work much at night. I'm more of a morning person when I do my work, and so I tend to work with my deities in the morning, and that includes Hecate, and she's still there. But they don't have a they're in a different realm of being to where we are. We're really in this material world where we have day and night, and we have what appears to be stuff and things and divisions and this, that, and the other. But they're operating beyond that. So some deities are things like, Zeus can be a deity that you work with for various different things. But Zeus is also the thunder and also the rain and also the weather. Um, Hecate is also the sea and the sky and the horizon. She is also the world axis. There's so many aspects to the deities that you can work with. They're beyond our limited material perception. Yes. Which deities would you say would take you into devolution? Need to avoid these. So these would be not so much deities themselves, but probably other lesser spirits. So some of the demons, for example, could definitely potentially can do that. So take notice of what the deities are. The deities, not so much. It's more the lesser spirits that are more likely to take you down the goat track. And you wouldn't want to work with them in any kind of deep way. If you are working with them, it'd be more to get things done on a material level, and rather than working with them to connect more with your consciousness. So it's not so much the deities that you need to worry about. The common deities anyway. I don't know every deity of every pantheon. I know that when you're dealing with conspiracy theories, there's a lot of negativity towards the deities that are associated with the Canaanites and those deities, because they're seen as being responsible for everything that's going on wrong in the world. And I don't really know much about the Canaanite deities because I've never worked with them. But that, again, could just be a Christianized concept of those deities too. So do your research with the deities and find out what it is that they work with, and work with that. The only way you can know is through your own experience and the way that your life is panning out. Are you happy? Are you living a life that you're enjoying? Are things changing for you for the better? Uh, is there more love in your life? Is there more fun in your life? Is there more good stuff happening in your life? And if you're working with a deity and those good things are happening, then and you're feeling more and becoming more aware of who and what you are, then you're working with deities that are very helpful for you. If your life is falling apart, you find yourself angry all the time, you're constantly having to hex people and feeling you've got to totally control the material world, you're constantly wanting to throw dark magic at everybody and everything, and you're not feeling good inside, then if you're working with a particular deity, then it may not be a good or particular spirit, really, not so much a deity. Then that spirit's probably not one you want to stay working with because they're just leading you down more of a path that's taking you further down into the material world and the world of ego. So you want to get beyond the ego and not get caught up in the ego. Okay, yeah, only the spirits, goddesses introduce me to in my practice, so they all come through proper channels. Yes. Growing up autistic, it took me a long time to learn I wasn't broken inside, just different. I found immense benefit from working with both ends of the spectrum, and I'm more myself than ever. Yeah, and like the dark and the light, as I said, everything's divine, and you can learn a lot from the dark. You can learn a lot from it. It can teach you a lot. It can be the dark aspects, the shadow aspects are where the strengths often are. It's learning how to use them in a way that's positive and constructive and not getting caught up in the ego fear, which makes it destructive. So it's been able to understand everything is divine and to utilize all of the aspects of the divine in a way that is positive for you. And that's the whole thing about magic, is that you're not just fluffy bunny, love and light sort of new agey type energy. We also understand that there's the other aspect of the polarity, and that when you work with the other aspect of the polarity, It can be in a constructive way. It doesn't have to be destructive. Even destruction to something. Some things sometimes they have to end in order for something new to begin. Life, our life, material life, is about destruction as well as construction. Life depends on death in order to live. So, in order to live, most life depends on the death of something else in order to live. So, we live in a polarity. We live in a universe or world where there is the dark and the light. We have to learn how to walk that and not be afraid of either side or not get too caught up in the traps of both sides. And the traps, of course, of the dark are the ego traps and that being very, very destructive all the time. And the traps of the light is that you can become a little bit too fluffy bunny and end up afraid of the dark and end up seeing the dark as being something that should be totally annihilated, not realizing that it's actually part of the whole thing. And that's how it works. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. Sometimes when we have negative experiences, it could be a test from them as well. Sometimes they do give you a little test. Yes, definitely. Hecate will sometimes test you. But it's always something you can handle. I used to work a lot with Hindu deities, but since working with Hecate, I don't feel the need to, not sure why. Look, sometimes we just move on. I used to work a lot with Tara, who was a Buddhist deity. And I worked with her for a long, long time until I started working with Hecate, and now I don't work with Tara anymore. And it's not that she's not there, and it's not that I don't sometimes connect up with her. It's just that at the moment, Hecate is the one that's taking me on this journey, and I guess she's the one that I'm meant to work with now. And maybe Hecate is the only one who can lead me in where it is that I'm needing to go, where my higher self wants me to go. I would say we learn the value of thorns, negative magic, when we find ourselves roses held in the wrong hands. That's a nice metaphor. I like that. Because, yes, a rose has thorns, and the beautiful scent of the rose isn't there when they breed them without the thorns. So when humans intervene with nature and change the structure of the plant and the genetics of the plant, we lose the essence of the plant. Roses no longer have their essence when we remove the thorns. So that beautiful essence of the rose, that when you pick a rose to your nose and you smell that beautiful scent of the rose, remove the thorns and that scent's not there anymore. So what does that tell you about the polarity and about the balance? Yeah. Look up Lilith and the other deities in your chart. Okay, so the chart. That's right. So you're talking about the deities in the chart. Okay. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you all for coming along. And yeah, you can, if you're watching the replay, any questions that you might have, you can pop them in the comments field. And I will see you again next week, I hope, if I haven't planned anything else in the meantime. And have a wonderful week. Have a safe week and enjoy working with the deities that you work with. So blessed be everybody.